Hello everybody, welcome back to JoJo Overdrive. Today we are going to be discussing Chapter 12 of Crazy Diamond's Demonic Heartbreak. This chapter took a hot second to come out. I expected it to come out sooner, but I'm not the one translating it, so I'm not going to complain. But personally, I think this was a fantastic chapter. I think this is exactly what the series needed, even though it's...
This is totally what it needed.
Even though it's literally just more fan service, it's like... If this feels better for some reason, this feels like better fan service. It's hard to describe, but
I think it's because it's not just generic Dio going ha ha ha, Daniel, you're gonna work for me, and then all of them react. I think they kind of do it a little better. In terms of how
it seems like in the previous chapters, it's just character shows up, and then they're like, it's the guy from part 3, and they all clap. This felt like it was like a cool extra backstory for Darby, which was completely out of we haven't seen Darby at all anywhere in the rest of this, so
that's what we needed. We needed the prequel backstory.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I needed that. It's like cooler. It's like epic and cool. Yeah. So the first thing that happens in this chapter is Whole Horse comes back, which I think is nice because they split up pretty arbitrarily. I think
they split up like 6 months ago.
For a series that was, Josuke and Whole Horse go on an adventure. It sure felt like Josuke and Boingo go on an adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So imagine if they just advertised this as Josuke and Boingo instead of Josuke and Whole Horse. That would have been a great marketing decision. Okay. If this ever gets an anime adaptation, they have to make a Boingo ending out of one episode.
They will. They're gonna have Josuke in it.
Josuke, Boingo, yeah. Oh my god.
And it's in Morio instead of Egypt.
Oh yeah, the background.
The background. It'd be great.
That would be.
I think they'll animate this. This is like it's gonna run long enough that they can do one season. I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Eventually.
You supposedly this is probably going to end at volume 3. That's what it seems like.
I think it's gonna. Because I can't see it going to volume 4, like all the way to volume 4, and yeah, it makes sense. That would leave us, I think, with like 4-ish more chapters, 3 or 4 more chapters, and I think we're gonna have our final confrontation, and then we'll have a little epilogue chapter. I could also see him ending this arc of it, and then. What I had mentioned, I think in the previous one, was going after Part 4 and resuming it after the events of Part 4, so you can have more free reign to do what you want with the characters.
Yeah, there could totally be something like that. I
am still maintaining my theory that once they defeat the Pet Sounds users, the memories that they're reliving, they will forget about, or it will degrade over time.
Something like that.
Because Josuke knows way too much about Dio now.
Oh, absolutely.
He wouldn't even be trying to fit continuity at this point. So I think he's gonna bring that up, especially that it's like old school like ribbons that would be in the old kind of like computers and stuff.
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
going through that stuff, it'll like tear or something, and then they'll forget. They'll still remember the adventure, but they won't remember the memories.
Any of they won't. Yeah, once the that makes the most sense to me is that once the user is defeated, everything that, because how stance traditionally works is that the effects that it did just go away. So it would also make sense that the memories that were artificially implanted would go away. I suppose that doesn't really happen. That doesn't happen with like Whitesnake, though. I suppose we never get a chance to find out if that happens with Whitesnake, because by the end of that, it's already. By the end of that,
you're right.
There's no characters left to remember being altered by Whitesnake, so we don't even have context based on that.
I think we're also going to see the rest of the Stardust Crusaders at the end of it. That's why also I think it'll change, because I think you'll directly see JoJo in the past.
Oh, you'll see a memory.
Yeah. That's what I think.
For a second, I thought you were doing some crackhead theory where the actual
no.
somehow show up.
I think we have to see like Kenny G's memories in this, right?
Kenny G with tenor sax.
Yes, we gotta see his origin, man.
I wonder how many people genuinely remember Kenny G.
He's a stage hazard in All Star Battle R.
That's It's like Arabia Fats. If you remember him.
They did a whole episode for one chapter.
Which is crazy. Oh, and it was a weekly chapter too, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy? Okay.
Yes, it was a weekly chapter. It was a gag chapter where it was just them in the desert, and then they extended it. And like, I like that episode, but man, the anime's pacing for part 3 is just the worst.
It's wild,
it's
especially
so
since
long.
Part 3 is the longest anime season. Well, it's 2 seasons also, first of all. Is the longest anime part we've had, but part 3 is like average length. Overall, the entire series, it's like the midpoint in terms of length of parts. Part 4 is longer, part 6 is longer, part 5 I think is the exact same length. But it's weird that one got so many more episodes. It got like 6 more episodes.
Way more. Yeah, and it's like the same length. And I think part 7 and part 8 are probably going to end up only having like the same amount of Stardust Crusaders.
Which is wild.
But it'll actually be paced well.
How many monthly, because I'm trying to think if Crazy Diamond was to get an anime adaptation, at how over 3 volumes, how many episodes would that be?
These chapters are longer than Shonen Jump chapters they're almost double each chapter. It's like it's 1.5 basically. Because I've been reading One Piece and those have been about 20, and so this has been 32, for instance, for this one.
I think it would be about 2-ish chapters per episode. It's not going to be exact, probably.
Yeah, and I think you'll have some other flashback stuff in there, like added stuff in case you're not super familiar with Whole Wars.
If there's
I think if it's 3 volumes, you could probably stretch it to 20 episodes.
20 episodes,
maybe.
Not 20 episodes. How many are per volume? I didn't think it was that long. Let me just search up Crazy Diamond Volume 1. Has how many chapters? It has 5 chapters. And so if it's about 2 and a bit more, maybe. It would not be 20 episodes. You're on crack. You are crazy.
I think I think it would be longer.
You think they would extend it?
I think the chapters are longer than you're thinking because like Steel Ball Run and JoJolion is probably going to be around. I guess you're right. That'll be like 2 chapters each.
No,
I don't know then.
But
I do think it'll get animated.
I think Crazy Diamond is more deserving of an animation than like Purple Haze Feedback.
Oh, I totally
agree.
Yeah.
Say, even though no one's actually read Purple Haze Feedback.
Purple Haze Feedback should just be a movie that they put in theaters. You've seen how well all of these like Dragon Ball Superhero and
One Piece,
Demon Slayer and One Piece Red, all of those have been doing like insane.
Yeah.
Like Golden Wind's one of the most like marketable ones. Just put that out there. I don't understand why that hasn't already been put into production.
And people complain about Fugo not getting a complete character arc all the time, so it would be nice for.
I do also just want to see them finish the Rohan OVAs, or at least resume them because we've got
them, right?
No, we have only like half of them.
Okay.
Actually, no. Now we have less than half because they have the 2 chapters.
Oh, because they just have the new ones. Yeah.
Last year, so I don't know what the live action series what they're gonna do with that, but yeah, yeah.
Do we have more live action episodes than anime episodes?
Yes, by far.
I think we do. Yeah. Okay.
We also have ones that are adapting short stories that are not.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I haven't. Yeah, I know you've seen some of the.
It's
how much
very good.
Live action show have you seen?
I've seen like the first season. It's really good.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
One of the things that most shocked me in this chapter, and I was like laughing like super hard, was the blatant thing where Dio is like, yes, I wish there was a person named Danny so I could throw them into a vault and burn them alive.
I'm okay, but that was great. I think it was
great, but it totally took me out of it. It was the most fan fiction-y thing I've ever read in the series.
I'd prefer that because it's at least it's like clever to me. It's like okay,
it is clever because
Daniel Darby, and that connects back to Danny. Oh, that's a fun connection. That's not just the memory shows Kakyoin dying. that's the reference. Like the callback to part 1 feels like more natural. Also because Dio like never references the events of part 1, so it's really cool to see him reference anything.
If Araki was writing it, it would be like It reminds me of some sort of dog, ... and then it would have a little picture of Danny in the speech bubble.
It would have the little emoji Danny.
Of like a skull and crossbones.
Yeah, can we just talk about for a second how they cut Danny being burned alive in the anime? Like they heavily hinted at that, but like they never showed him burning. In the manga they just
closed.
Yeah, they just have it closed. You hear sounds coming from it, and he's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "What? Oh, Danny died." But in the manga, he bursts out of the furnace in flames, and it's horrifying. Yeah, no, but I also, second thing, this whole Darby section, which is basically the whole chapter, is great. I think this is fantastic. I think this is
it's so cool.
Just the amount of extra depth to the part 3 minor villains. I was kind of expecting for more people throughout this arc.
Doing it for everyone, man. All of the main. We're gonna get like Endduel next.
Yeah, and honestly, Endduel was a pretty like fan favorite choice. I like Endduel a lot. Also because Endduel seemed like, okay, it's kind of weird to say this, but like he was one of like the nicer ones or whatever. He had like honor or whatever. It felt like a very Wamu like thing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, but All-Star Battle R devs, that does not mean I want him to take up a DLC slot.
Yeah, so that does it. Please leave Endduel out. We have enough part 3 characters. Put in any character from part 7 or 8 besides the ones you've already included. Besides the ones you've already, but it's already ain't gonna happen. Whatever. I'm gonna stop dooming about All-Star Battle R DLC now and get to the peak Darby. I love the original Darby the Gambler arc back in part 3. So this was an absolute treat.
I mean, I don't know if I've said this on here, but that arc was what like hooked me into the rest of the show, and from like that point, I literally watched straight through the rest of it, and then read it in a month. And before that, I've been procrastinating and been like, nah, I'm not. I like part 3. Part 1 I liked. Part 2 I was like, it's really good. Part 2 is probably the best so far out of that. And then part 3, the pacing just killed it because of how long everything took. But obviously now that I'm into the series more, my opinions have changed. And I like all of this way more in hindsight. Yeah, but
in retrospect,
as a first-time watcher,
part 3 is very long. I will say, yeah.
As a first-time watcher, the Darby the Gambler arc was like, oh, okay, this is when it gets really, really good. And then everything past that is peak.
It's fantastic. I love the part in this episode where Dio like stops time to like switch the hands or whatever.
Yeah.
Which feels like and he cuts in between his fingernails or whatever, which is a nice little. I don't think we've had much gore in this.
That totally feels like an Araki gore, where it's like it's not just cuts. You know what I mean? It's like specific weird areas.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, because I don't think... Well, okay, it makes sense that we don't get a lot of gore in this part because the main character... Because Josuke has to not be traumatized by part 4, supposedly, unless he forgets everything. And he can't, like, sustain major injuries. So they can't be up against stands that, like, are gonna rip their bowels out. But it's nice to see it go back to his roots. And then, okay, I just, like... I think the psychological terrorism of Dio, where he switches the hands and then he switches them back, is so good. Yeah. Like when it did the setup of Darby's like, I gave myself the good hand and him the bad hand, I was like, oh, it's obvious what's gonna happen. He's gonna time stop and he's gonna switch the cards out. But then he does it a second time afterwards, and that added on a nice little cherry on top.
He was just flexing on him.
He was just flexing so hard. And, second thing that I love about this, it adds even more context into Darby's defeat in the original. Because at the end of it, Dio kind of tells Darby, is like, if you lose again, I'm gonna, like, end you so hard. And so it gives even more weight to that, because in part 3, Jotaro beats him by being just so good at bluffing that he makes him have a panic attack and like get retired. But there's a bit more of like, it was always cool in the original, but I think it's even cooler now that we have a bit more like, oh, there's even more of a reason as to why he was panicking. Like we have more justification to say, because in the original, it's just basically like, oh, Dio, if he tells the ability of Dio, he will probably get killed sometime. But now we have the context of he was told directly that if he lost, that he would kill him anyway. So
take that, Puss in Boots. This is the most realistic depiction of panic attacks in fiction.
Yes. Average Puss in Boots fan would not stand a chance against Jotaro in a poker match. That would not. Oh, and then there's so much good fan service. The freaking useless page or whatever.
That was so good.
Oh my god, I turned the page and see that. I'm like, oh my god, it's like the thing he says. Great. Last chapter just wasn't doing it for me as much. I was definitely.
I know. I was losing. This series was like losing steam. I thought because it was literally the formula, having to wait an entire month for just the exact same chapter over again, especially when Whole Horse was separated. It was like, okay. But this chapter really got it back on track, and it's exciting that we're going to have both series, JoJo Lands and Crazy Diamond, running at the same time for at least 3 months. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, at least, because we need to fill up the volume count. So, that'll be nice. And then by the end of this, because when I was reading it, I forgot the context of why we were watching this. It's because Josuke is being put in the place of Darby and is suffering from a panic attack. And now Josuke is defenseless at the end, and he's up against oh, that's right. Thank you, JoJo panel, for showing me his name. Last episode I said that I don't think Pet Sound's user had a name. He does have a name. It was said before. Thank you. Someone commented it. I remember. Thank you.
Karaya,
it's Karaya. Yeah, it's Karaya. I don't remember when he got the name. It was probably just honestly just like
I think it was in the flashback when it was talking about how his grandfather worked with the Pillarmen or whatever.
Oh yes! Oh my! I need to reread this start to finish.
I know.
Now. I need to remember. There's a lot in this. It's just that I keep forgetting.
One thing I liked about integrating Dio though into this is Josuke is like by far the one that's least connected to Dio. Like he does not come up besides the fact that stand arrows are there. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool to like in retrospect connect the two.
Yeah, because as you were saying, the stand arrows are the only connection. It was that Dio gave a stand arrow.
And the flesh bud.
Yeah. Yeah. Flesh bud. But that's connecting to Okuyasu's backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nothing connected to Josuke himself.
It's cool to see him as a villain to Josuke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else happened this chapter? Not much more. Oh yeah, freaking Kakyoin's cousin is gonna shoot herself apparently. That happens like once, but that's not not important for this chapter in the slightest. That's gonna be important next time. Yeah,
I mean, we have obviously the cliffhanger with Josuke just standing there.
Yeah, just standing. But and what is Karaya have? Is that like a blowtorch or something?
It's like a blowtorch. Yeah.
What is he gonna do? See, now I'm into it. I'm like, okay, last chapter wasn't doing it for me, but this one is much better. This is what I'm expecting.
I'm glad we have characters like Whole Horse, Boingo, Kakyoin's cousin, because you don't know what's gonna happen to them. But Josuke, you're like, he'll be fine.
I'm
like,
so worried about Whole Horse dying. I'm so scared.
Whole Horse could totally die.
Whole Horse, do not do that to me. I'm just okay. I know it's probably just the title of the series, but Demonic Heartbreak is a very strange title to give. So far, it's had nothing related to it. I'm guessing it's just. I don't know. It's Heartbreak because the heart motif on Crazy Diamond, I guess?
Wait, no, what if it's this is a little bit of a stretch, but like Kakyoin's cousin mourning Kakyoin? Maybe.
That's true. I also always forget her name. I'll remember it eventually. I remember all the JoJo characters' names eventually.
Kakyoin girl.
Kakyoin woman. Fem Kakyoin. Yeah. Femyoin.
Well, that's actually already separate. There's enough fan art out there.
Oh my god, stop. You need to stop.
How do you think JoJo is made?
No, stop. Did you lay this egg? Oh yeah, and we technically get Kakyoin in this chapter when Whole Horse mistakes Fem Kakyoin for Kakyoin. And we get one single panel of this art style. We've only seen one other part with Kakyoin in it, I think, is when we saw the flashback of him dying.
When he
I think
dies,
that's the only other panel we've gone. It's nice to see the characters in this art style, because this is a very good art style. I've said this every time.
It's so different from JoJo, but it's such a good art style.
It works well with JoJo, I think.
Especially, it works super well for parts like 1 through 4, kind of bigger characters.
Yeah.
Because if Araki was drawing this, he would make Whole Horse look like he's like 90 pounds and look like he's 20 years old still.
Looks like he's anorexic or something.
No offense, Araki. I love your art. Your art is like the peak. But like for this story specifically, I think this works really, really well.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. You said part 1 to 4, but I think like that middle section, like 3 to 5, I think would work best. Like that point where they're still buff, right, but they're getting out of buff mode. That probably be the nicest.
Part 4's art style, because that was when he was going through his biggest change, is like the worst by far. Like, that is the only period of JoJo where I actively like don't like a lot of the art in it, because it's really weird at parts where one chapter you'll have Koichi be like the height of a regular person, and the other he'll be short. And then, literally, you just have to look at the first appearance of Josuke compared to the last appearance, and it's like two completely different things.
Yeah, it's actually crazy.
But I'm excited to see where they're gonna go with this final fight, because finally they're actually meeting up with the villain.
This is pretty clear. There's 2 ways this goes. One, there's like a couple more fights after this, and it's a much longer series than we anticipate. Or this is the final battle. I can't see it going any other way.
I think this has to be the final battle. You got everyone at their lowest point. Mm-hmm. You have Whole Horse on his own. He's gonna sacrifice himself. Obviously, no. I don't think he'll die.
This series seems so fan servicey. It would seem like I don't think he'd want to kill off any of the major characters. As like, I don't know. It would feel like I don't want to say disrespectful, but like I'm just trying to judge from the.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the author.
I don't think the author wants to kill off the characters.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the last thing we should just talk about real quick is that this is the last chapter that's coming out before like part 9 is coming out, and so we're gonna be getting out our part 9 thoughts like very quick. I've heard apparently that they're gonna try and get it out day and day with Japan, which would be perfect.
Absolutely fantastic. It should not take this long for these episodes to come out.
I think it's because there's 2 different translation teams, and obviously I love the work all of them do on it. Mm-hmm. But I just know that the JoJo Lands team is gonna try and get it out on the actual day. That's what I've heard. I could be wrong.
For how long for how long these take, I will say though the translation and like visual cleanup is very well done.
It's professional.
Having text like being over characters and stuff is incredibly hard to erase the Japanese and then put in English while still keeping the original art, and it's very well done. So
better than most of his media's releases.
Oh, absolutely.
Past parts 1 through 3, they got kind of lazy at parts.
Yeah, they just start covering things with boxes.
Basically, we're gonna have our main discussion thoughts for the first chapter out. Should be day and day, like hours after, and then we'll probably do something else that weekend for other stuff. But part 9 is gonna be huge.
Yeah, part 9 will be our focus. We'll still be doing these. But part 9, we're just trying to assure you that part 9 will come out much faster than these episodes do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe that's all we had to say. Next month is going to this month, I should say, because this crossed over into February.
15 days.
This is gonna be This is gonna be a big time for JoJo.
Biggest since Stone Ocean came out, and I mean we're not even gonna have any, not counting any potential Rohan OVAs. We're not gonna have any anime this year.
And avoiding spoilers. Oh my god, this is gonna be the hardest thing of my life. I'm gonna have to somehow get. I believe if we could just have like one split second where we could get the link to the manga.
Could you guys not leak stuff on Twitter too?
Yeah. Could you not post stuff on Twitter? I just want my goddamn.
At least like tag it with something. But
Twitter also always insists that it show me the spoilers before like someone posts that the chapter is out of anything ever.
Yeah.
That happened with
Like Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man.
Oh, I was so close.
told.
I almost got spoiled with stuff, but luckily,
and JoJo and I got spoiled of a
good.
lot of things because
it's just a shame because the leaks come out 2 weeks before, basically.
Yeah.
Like this happens with everything. Like they got their hands. I obviously I don't think it was bad to talk about the leaked image. I mean, we talked about it because it's just a promo image with the JoJo. But when it comes to the actual like manga, we're not going to be covering anything early. Even if the whole chapter, unless I mean, we would probably cover it if it's like an English translation, but that's not going to happen. We're not going to be covering any leaks that happen for the actual like chapter stuff.
Yeah, until I don't want to see any of the chapter until I can properly read it through myself because I don't think I could get a proper enjoyment out of it if I'm looking at just like pictures of it. I feel like and like a brief synopsis or something of what's happening.
No.
That just doesn't feel. I don't want to do it disservice. But yeah, that's the schedule. That's the schedule.
It'll come out.
Hopefully we won't be spoiled, and everything is gonna go fantastically. I can see it. Crazy Diamond, JoJo Lands, the power team for a few months. We will see you guys next time. But first, you gotta subscribe because you know you want to see the next chapter and the next JoJo Lands chapter. You know you want to see it. Comment down below what your thoughts are on this chapter and what you want. What minor part 3 character do you want to see? Tell us, because personally,
I want to see the Speedwagon Foundation guys that show up with the helicopter.
Yeah,
I need an in-depth backstory.
Personally, we got Darby Senior. I want to see Darby Junior.
Oh yeah,
I want to see him
definitely
game. I want to see him game.
I need to see DIO game.
Yes!
DIO
beats the video game. Dio's like, yes, this video game. I never had this in my time, and he effortlessly beats him in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with Diddy Kong.
He does he goes to the minus world in Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, he's like, what? That's
impossible. He can time stop. He has the frame perfect.
Yeah, he can task like speedrun Mario.
Yes.
All right. Well,
I beat Super Mario Brothers in 4 minutes 14 seconds.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. This is JoJo Overdrive signing off.
Watch where you going, hold and drive. Let the downside up to top notch, whatever haters do. Hot top.